Hey everybody, this is Corey, and I'm just getting ready to continue my work on one of my short stories for the next Deadly Sin series, but I thought I'd check in and let you know kind of what's going on. Hush is releasing November 1st, and so in advance, in anticipation of that release that I'm really excited about, I'm putting together 4 more stories for the Deadly Sin series. This one I'm working on is about Eddie, who's a recurring character in the stories, the current stories, Deadly Sin stories. He owns a billiard hall, and it's a place that Des frequents. She learned to play pool from him. She learned how to hustle pool because of Eddie. Her first weapon was given to her by Eddie. He's one of those guys. He's retired military. He's been retired for a long time. He's one of those guys in the neighborhood who always knows what's going on, and he can get access to lots of different stuff that you or I might not be able to find. So he's that kind of guy. You wouldn't want to mess with him. He's down to earth and very real, so you wouldn't want to mess with this guy. At any rate, he goes to Des in the story I'm working on right now and says, hey, my niece is missing, and I don't know what's going on. We usually talk all the time. She goes to school at University of Nebraska-Lincoln. Can you help me out? Can you see if you can find out what's going on with her? Her name's Tasha. Natasha. Goes by Tasha. And so Des says, fine, I'll go to Lincoln. I'll check things out. I'll see what I can find out. So the question is, what will happen? Because I'm not a plotter and a planner when I write. I usually sit down and I might write a paragraph or so and say, hey, here's where I'm starting and here's where I want to go for this scene, but not necessarily the entire story. And so that's where I'm at right now. So I'm about to sit down and write a couple scenes here for this short story. The short stories are anywhere from 6,000 to 8,000 words. So they'll be resolved in 5 to 7 scenes, essentially, just like every other Deadly Sin story I've done. But I did a Facebook poll, and I said, hey, I got a couple responses, not very many yet, but I said, hey, what do you think should happen? Should I have a, basically happy ending for the story, or do you think that someone needs to die? And it was funny because one of the pieces of feedback I received was, well, it's Deadly Sin, so, of course, somebody needs to die. I said, no, that's not necessarily true, because the deadly sins, there's 7 of them. It could be lust, it could be greed, it could be a combination of the deadly sins. So what should I do? And I thought that was really funny that I got that feedback. But that's the thing that you have to keep in mind when you're reading the stories. I wrote the Deadly Sin stories so you, as a reader, can go in and have a little fun and try and figure out, what was I thinking? What was this writer thinking when she was writing this? Was it the Deadly Sin lust? Was it greed? But some of them are kind of obvious, some of them are not that obvious, and some of them are a combination. So that'll give you a way to relate to the stories, and if you figured out or you think you do or you have some thoughts, let me know. You can get a hold of me on @KMillerWrites over on Twitter. Hashtag Deadly Sins, and then I'll know that you want to engage that way. You can always find me over on Facebook at author Corey D. Miller, or go over to my website, CoreyDMiller.com. But that's what I'm going to do today. I'm sitting down to write these stories. I generally, once I get on a roll, can knock them out pretty quickly. I've got the 4 to do before the Hush releases November 1st, and then in 2016 I'll be releasing 3 additional books and about 12 to 14 more short stories before the release of each of those books. And those books in order are going to be North Downing, On Your Six, and then Off the X. So I've got it all plotted and planned in terms of what I'm planning to do, right? But yeah, the stories aren't plotted or planned. I'm not there yet. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for giving me feedback, and feel free to communicate with me over at KMillerWrites on Twitter. See ya.